I'm very excited about working with you guys on your project, and very glad that you approached us and invited us to be part of it. And my name is Ezeadi Patrick Onokulu. I'm the artistic managing director of African Heritage Music and Dance Society, and we're the producers of AFOMAD, African Heritage Festival of Music and Dance, which is an annual music and dance festival, annual music festival in the Lower Mainland that comes up every last weekend of August, and it's a 3-day festival, and it features music and dance from local performers, national performers from across Canada, and international performers from outside of Canada, anywhere in the world that has anything to do with the African diaspora. So it's a festival that encompasses the music of the African diaspora, bringing that to nurture and grow that within the overall BC cultural mosaic, share and nurture and grow as part of the mosaic, and to help better understanding between its people of African heritage and other peoples of other heritages in our neighbors and partners and associates and all kinds of things, here where we live, because we have come here to make Canada is now our home, and we're very grateful for the Coast Salish people for giving us the opportunity to settle here and go to school here and buy property here without really consulting them. It's the most beautiful thing. So that is part of our motivation for developing this festival as a means of getting to meet with them, share with them who we are, and establish a proper foundation of a relationship that will be for eternity. Because, for example, myself and other people of African heritage have children here, and those children are Canadians, and their children will forever be Canadians. So we are Canadians, and we want to make sure that they have something that reminds them of who they are and where they come from and how they grew to be part of this. It's a beautiful thing to share, and we are very, very excited about what we're doing with it so far and what we're looking forward to.
How did the festival come about, and when did it start?
It started a very long time ago with me. I'm the founder of the society. And it started a very long time ago in the 80s, just after 70s when I was in university, like you guys. That was my time. And I went to school at Simon Fraser University, and I graduated in business. But while I was there, when I got there, I realized that there are some, idiosyncrasies and stereotypical ideas about me, where I come from, and people that look like me. And I thought that, okay, there has to be something I could do to invite everybody to come to know who I am, really, before we can form ideas about each other. So I met a wonderful person in the name of Joe Keithley, and anybody that grew up in this Vancouver will know him as Joey Sheethead from DOA. And he's still around. They just played a very beautiful show at Kitsilano Days during the summer down on West 4th. And I asked him, he had a radio show at CITR's college, campus radio. And I asked him, how can I get a program on here, And he told me to come along, and he introduced me to the program station manager and told him what I wanted to do. And they gave me the opportunity to start an African music and information program, the first of its kind in the whole of North America at that time. And I did it until I graduated. From there, then I went to Kamloops to article for CA at that time, and then a lot more other things happened in the direction of negative interracial experiences while I was articling that kind of affirmed to me that I really this is not being in the corporate world and subscribing to whatever is going to hit on me based on what I'm experiencing so far. Somehow became an epiphany that my job here is somewhere else, and that place is in helping people understand a little bit more about us and creating better harmony and peace and understanding amongst everybody. So I changed direction. When they didn't want me at my job in Kamloops, I came back here. I changed direction and went back to the radio and started another program at CITR, at UBC, and continued with that. And that particular program, I was able to be part of the syndication of it that got it, contacted a lot of, excuse me, other campus radios across North America, and we were able to do some syndicating. People at least listened to it and copied it, and then it grew from there. And that I kept doing it here and helped some entrepreneuring Canadian man that I met at that time who was interested in promoting African music. And I backed him up with my radio program and helped promote, and we're bringing African music every year. People like King Sonny Ade and Roche Rowe and Salif Keita and Manu Dibango, all those kinds of people that we're able to be part of, just kept doing this until now. And eventually out of that, all of that, in the last 4 years finally we were able to do the festival. We have proposed it several times and we haven't been given the opportunity, but others like the folk festival, the jazz festival, and all of them, they got the opportunity, but we didn't. But we were around this idea at the table with them at that time. So it said a lot of things that we are trying to overcome by this, and there's a lot of things that you are trying to change by what you're doing right now, So, and for me to just come here and quote it, tell you, oh, this festival is all about this, yes, it's about that, but it is about that for a purpose. And that purpose is to have people like you come and witness it and share with our food and witness it and ask it and enjoy it, because it's absolutely fantastic, and be a part of it. Take away something from it, because there's always something to learn from every and anything we touch. Every day we work, unless we are totally not conscious of where we are, then we won't learn anything any day. But every day, everything we see, we learn something from. And for me and you guys, this is a whole new experience today. And I hope we leave it each with something about the other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it started 4 years ago officially?
Officially 4 years ago, and in 2015 we had an inaugural event, a gala event right here to launch it, and it was inside the council chambers and the atrium. We used that venue, and at that time we approached the city of Surrey to, you know, to ask them to allow us to do it here, because this is going to be the hub of the city in the future, and we were really very honored by the city of Surrey allowing us to get in ahead of the rush that is going. People are going to find once everything is finished here. Everybody would want to do something here, you know. But we're glad to be one of those people, and hopefully people will have an opportunity to come more to see what we're doing here, or to see, visit, or take in the concerts we're going to be having in places like Vancouver, the Commodore, Imperial, Red Room, or any of the big Vancouver venues where we'll be having our night concerts. We have night concerts and full day, all day festival event here with performances and workshops, food court and markets, vendors, cultural dances and masquerades and food, all kinds of food, you know, and it's an exciting thing. And the design, you know, when you get into the space, when it is all set up, you get in there, you will feel like you're somewhere else for the day. That's the objective. Yeah.
So, yeah, it sounded like it took a long time to get to where it is now.
Yes.
Was it always like a dream of yours to have a festival here? And
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, it has been dream. Yeah, it's more or less to do this, because it will be representative of the proper culmination and the proper legacy for what we've been trying to do for almost 40 years. Yeah, you know, and things have changed a lot for the better, but still, they morph. Everything keeps morphing, you know, including the bad things. They morph into something different. You know, the little more two really nasty variables get put in there, it becomes even worse, you know. Like, look at all the drug issues and everything that is going on. When I was a student like you guys, there was nothing like that. You know, students would go about on pub nights and get drunk on beer and make some noise and get on the bus and get back on campus, and you know, maybe a few of them here and there maybe smoke marijuana or whatever, but nothing else. You never hear, there was no fighting, there was no overdosing or people dying, and there's no people shooting, and you know, it was different. But in that aspect, it was great, because when people get to know you then, you know, yeah, they get to know you. That's why I was able, with the help of these other people, to develop the market for what we're doing today, because people were really interested when you actually get close. And that time, it was easier to get close than today. Today, everybody's on the edge, you know, about talking to each other or finding out. So, you know, in that regard, I applaud you too for what you're doing. Don't be afraid to do or talk to anybody once, as long as you know and believe in your heart you're doing something that is good for humanity, or for, you know, that makes you feel good. You know, will give a good result somewhere. Don't be afraid. Don't care who it is. You know, talk to them. Say hello. You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is our objective here. More hellos and less.
Yeah. Was it, so was there any reason in particular that it took so long for the festival to
Well,
come together?
it's you know, like I said, based on the fact that there's a lot of things that we have to overcome. Yes, it was there was a lot of obstacles. It started with trying to turn around racism and discrimination to something better, because that's what I was given, with jobs. I graduated, I was hired from Simon Fraser with my fellow graduates who did well enough to be hired off campus. I didn't look for a job, to go and choose a place to do my articling for my CA. I chose Kamloops because it was a smaller city. The winter there is dry, so I know if I dress warm, I will be okay. I really researched it, figured it all out. It's okay, that's where I want to go. And then, so if I go there, it's small, I can do it in like 2 years, finish, and then I can go to the big city to do my work. Okay, that's just the way I thought it. But I missed one very important factor. The fact that in Kamloops at that time, there's a lot of racism and discrimination against people, and I would for example, go to work go to do a inventory for example, at a client's, and then half an hour later they call me back to the office, and eventually one of my peers told me what was happening. The clients didn't want me in their office, and when I complained to my partners, they told me I don't meet their requirements anymore. But these are the very same people that hired me in the first place. You see, I am disposable. They can't stand up for me and go to those clients and say, hey, this young man came all the way from Africa to go to school here. We brought him here because we believe he knows what to do for us. He's like you. What do you mean? What is the problem here? Okay, because one of the partners, he has lived in Africa as a professor, in East Africa in accounting. Okay, and because of him, I went there. I said, why can't you guys stand for me? You're not going to lose. You talk nicely to your client. They know you. You've been doing this for them all this time until you brought me here. Give them the reason why you brought me here. But instead of that, they told me I don't meet their requirements anymore. So I came back here and tried to go through human, how's their name? The Human Commission, whatever.
Human Rights Tribunal.
Yeah, Human Rights. And they told me at the time, it's going to be your word against theirs, and theirs will always win. So I had no recourse, okay? So, again, do I really want to get myself so angry and frustrate myself and kill myself about this? No. So I turned around and went back to radio with this mind of doing something like this the past 40 years, and every angle, every group I have gone to try to implement it, have taken a little piece of it and left me hanging. I'm not going to mention names, but a lot of them, festivals, when I started this, the festival proliferation in this place is nowhere. It was only the folk music festival, and they were just starting. It was their first year when we approached them. They found Mr. Gary Crystal on Main Street and 16 at a record store where he was working there, to include African music in the folk music festival. That was me. Okay, so, so all this stuff, this is all the things, and as this is happening over the years, the population of my people like myself keep growing here. Now, we have all these problems here now. A lot of them have died down there in downtown east side there because of these drugs. A lot of them have died at home because now, they find out they can steal your drugs at home or your painkillers or whatever and do whatever they do with it, And then, so we need, why? Because their parents are too busy trying to make it. So nobody's there to take care of them or guide them properly. They come home, when the parents come home, you have to rest. So you get up the next 2, 4, 3 hours to go again. you know. So one of the things we're trying to do with the society is not only to just present, you know, is we want to nurture, present, evolve, and preserve African arts, music, and dance in British Columbia as part of the British Columbia cultural mosaic in our overall Canadian multicultural place, beautiful place, you know. But it's we're trying to set up, you know, it's trying to build something. You know, it's all about, you know, a legacy for future reference, you know. My son is in grade 10. My last one is in grade 10. And the other day he was, Google celebrated an African called Thomas Aquino. I don't know if you saw today, I think 2 or 3 days ago, it was, you know how Google does that thing. And he was talking about what he did. And my son comes to me, and because I have talked to him and told stories about who we are or where I come from, but I never made that connection public to him. But when he saw that, and of course he likes to read, and he went and read about this guy, and he found out, then he came to tell me. He is a great, great, great uncle of mine, you know, in real, you know, in reality. So my son, how he saw that, he realized that is when he saw the village where he came from in Nigeria. That's my mother's village. And so that's when I have to tell him that far. But you see, if he didn't know anything because of me, he wouldn't think about that or realize it, you see. So we want to make things like that. As you can see, records have been kept for forever. Things have been archived. We want to put it in the libraries for future reference. And every year we bring in new, and we have a program book and CD music compilation or whatever videos that we put into small digital fonts that they want to archive in the libraries. So we submit every year, no matter how little, but it's there to continue to make it better, give people opportunity, people like you opportunity to go and find it and say, hey, this has been said a long time ago. What are we still doing? How come we are not doing much about it? Come on, let's step it up. You know, let's take it to the next level. Because I hope that's something that would be possible with what you try to do, what you're doing. And you can come to our festival, come and volunteer, bring your friends, everybody, and let's all, you know, enjoy ourselves. There's lots of young people like yourself there, you know. Get to know them, they get to know you. You find out, hey, this can be a lot better than we think it is at the moment, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I like to tell it like this. I don't know how else, you know, because if we really think it, if we really go about go and question and answer, you won't get everything. But I know when you check what we have done so far, I know you will get a very good story to help you with understanding African heritage music and dance and the idea of that. That's where I was talking earlier. I said something about blackness. Okay. I have an issue with that because it gives people different connotations. Now, everybody is from a certain heritage. You see, the Almighty Creator created one humanity, one human. And in order for us to get excited and learn about things, He made us different heritages of one. So we are not races, we are not colors, we are heritages of one. One human one human entity. From that, we all become what we are at different places. Because by the time we finish here, or in the years to come, when we put in everything we can get from Africa, by the time we finish, you will see people that look exactly like you, but just dark skin like me. And they are from Africa. And you check their language, you can find some relationships. In my place, the Igbo people where I come from, we have clans whose last name are the same like Japanese names. We have Okuma, we have Ikeda, we have Otaki, they say in Japan, okay, and a whole bunch of other names. And, I know of somebody, a Japanese person, way back when I was in Berkeley, because that's where I started my school, okay? My first years in higher education was in Berkeley, California. And there I met this Japanese young man who was doing a PhD in linguistics, and he was trying to find out what that relationship is. Why is it that you find these names? And they mean the same thing. They're not just spelled the same, they mean the same thing. And this one is in Igbo, and this one is in Japanese. So, but he was, unfortunately, I had to leave to come to Canada, so I didn't quite get, the results, how far he went. But my brother-in-law is here. He's married to my sister. He's Okuma, and he gets invitation to come to the Japanese cultural organization meetings and stuff. And he has been, and he's explained to them where he came from. And now, see, again, they had the opportunity to learn about us that way. Okay, so it's very crucial what we're trying to do, and I hope your work and the work of others like you will help take it out there to every young person, who thinks about whatever they believe they come from, to understand that and come together and make it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And more fun, more educational, and the small growth and the small betterness. People are better to each other when they know each other. When people know each other, they know that sometimes, for example, a group of people, when they talk loud. But some others may see them and hear them and think, oh, they're always angry, or why are they shouting? But that's the way they do it. And some would be talking, and they'll be talking very quiet. Again, the same thing. But you don't criticize or judge, you learn. You can ask questions, and questions brings answers, and answers bring us closer together. Last year we did collaboration with a group, Amexem Roots Reggae Society, and Island of Music in Vancouver to do our festival, Afomat, with our concert at the Vogue Theatre, when we brought Alpha Blondy from Cote d'Ivoire. He's a really big reggae icon, and I hope next time he's going to come next year. You better be there. You better be there. If I don't see you in the front, if you see me, you shout at me. Make sure. During the festival this year, again, we had collaboration with the Island of Music and Vancouver Latin Club. Of course, Amexem again, Island of Music, Vancouver Latin Club, and Global TV was our English media sponsor, English television media sponsor. So they really helped us, and of course we had funding and financial support from Canadian Heritage, the City of Surrey, and Creative BC. For the first time, we got money from the province of British Columbia this year from Creative BC, and that was for 2017. That was our main funding. Actually, that was the biggest funding we received. But for 2018, we are looking forward to being able to explore a little bit more sources of financing from more grant areas and sponsorships. Yeah.
Is it challenging to every year like get more grants?
Yes, yes. That is the big job, and it's a big job that even when you have a whole team doing it, that is a very big part of it. But as you grow, you persist, then more opportunities come up. That's why we're able to do our festival for the first time at the time when we planned it, so that it will give us enough time to apply for and get approval or not approval before we start booking things. You see? So, and this year is the first year we have that opportunity because we've done it and we have qualified. We've done enough festivals to qualify for that next level. So we'll see. We're working on them right now, and we'll see what the results come up with. But talking about collaboration, yes, in February, we're working on a collaboration with for what is called African Heritage Month, Black History Month, and we are planning a collaboration with the National Congress of Black Women, MXM again, Roots Reggae Society of BC, Ghana Cultural Association of BC, and Marian Landers Dance, and ourselves, and also involving Kwantlen Polytechnic University. So far, we're hoping to maybe get out another campus involved for the program for Black History Month. It's a collaboration. I can't tell you what it is yet, but it involves some really musical kind of theater and dance and musical live concert performances for February 2018. So that's one of our bigger collaborations, and we're hoping that will even grow the collaboration tree a little higher for the festival in 2018.
Do you get people from all over Surrey, but also all over the Lower Mainland coming to the festival?
Our objective market-wise is people from all over BC, but our core market is of course Surrey and South of the Fraser, but we'll say just Greater Vancouver is our core market because I've seen the market grow and shift over the years in certain ways, and we're trying to exploit that growth and try to get it close to people where they are, and at the same time, making sure that we are reaching everybody that we are looking for. Because again, we don't really have an enclave, an area where you can say, okay, here are where all the maybe African Canadians live, or here, in some it's distinct when you can say, like for the Chinese community, it's Richmond now. For the South Asian community, it's right here. That you can see. But for us, we're kind of all over the whole place. But we have concentrations that are kind of beginning to form, and we're trying to put our activities in these environments close enough to it, so that, because again, we're trying to be a part of making life there easier and more friendlier and harmonious for the people living there. And again, how do we think they do it? By getting to know a little bit more about each other. And our choice of variables: music, dance, arts, culture, fashion, food, food, food. Because when you eat, your belly full, then everything is cool. Yeah.
Do you think that I guess like I'm not that familiar with Surrey, but it seems like some parts, at least this part, there's been changes to the city.
Yes.
And I was just wondering how how the festival has changed along with that change. Like, was it always here or?
Well, it's always been here. This is our because this is our first venue that we thought of once it started coming up, and I was fortunate enough to talk to somebody in City Hall and ask questions, and I got some answers, and I got directed towards finding out more, and it's always been here, and we want to grow this outside, one full day outside venue to be here, because we want to create something. You'll find it so when we are fully able to fund the vision, it will be something to behold. It's a nice little small high-end kind of festival, international caliber music festival in high-end but cheap, because with the design and the idea and the concept and then the environment, it will tell people a little bit something. We haven't been able to achieve that in the past 2 years because we're beginning and we haven't had enough money. But it doesn't mean that that vision is gone. Once we do, we get the right sponsorships to help us with the venue design as we have wished, it's going to be something else. Yes.
How has the neighborhood received the?
So far, they haven't responded much because, again, we haven't been able to reach them much. With our marketing and publicity, we have the plan, but we haven't had the resources to implement our plan fully. But those that we have been able to reach have been very, very responsive and helpful. And like I said, the city of Surrey has been very supportive in having us here and helping us, because they've given us a cultural grant through that has helped us keep this going. If it wasn't for them and Canadian heritage, we wouldn't be. So we're really very grateful for that, and we're looking forward to developing it and making them proud.
Yeah.
Making them proud of what they supported. That's what we're looking forward to.
Have you and others part of the festival also sat down with other festival organizers in Vancouver and other parts of the Lower Mainland?
Not a lot of them, but we have personally, as the artistic managing director of this one, I have talked to the others, and sought their help and support, and even ideas, mentoring ideas about what we're doing. And after this year, they're coming around to support us. So that's why I know that it's going to be better. When you're talking to another organization and they say, oh, okay, well, we do have our props here and we can, when you're ready or whenever, let us know. And if we can, we direct you where they are. So you know that something is getting better when a competitor is willing to do stuff like that for you, because they're understanding that you're not really their competitor. For me and for our festival and our concept, what we're trying to do, we are not anybody's competitor. We want to do this and do it right, so other heritages around here can see it and do their own. And then imagine every year we have this, you have yours, the South Asians have theirs, and of course the Italians already have and the Greeks already have there, and more of this happen. And we have all this, we go to, I go to the Richmond World Music Festival. I perform there because I'm also a performer myself. Over the years I performed in a lot of these festivals myself. But you see those things, and you go to all the happenings, you see there's a theme, they're all telling a story, but they're not quite telling yours, and you're learning about that. So give everybody an opportunity to learn about you too. Don't feel like stop holding it. So we don't want to hold it to ourselves. We want everybody to know, and in knowing, we relate. One of the things we decided to do, for example, is to compartmentalize it into regions, areas. So, for example, we look at the East African region, North African, South African, West African, Central African, the Caribbean region, the Latin American region, European region, and American, wherever they are, because we want to bring all those little pieces together one time or the other to complete that complete that image that we're going to put there, because it's everybody that looks like me, wherever they are. It's important, because we have, let's be true, we have been marginalized a lot, but it's up to us to try to say, hey, this has not always been the case, let's change something here, and we're willing to bring that spice that will give it that change. The hosts are welcomed by the hosts of the land to start with, because we're presenting ourselves to the people of the coast, Salish people, and we hope that through what we're sharing with them, they're able to understand us a little bit more and accept us wholeheartedly as their neighbors forever, basically, because that's what it is. And these are the things that we know. For example, before, I started actually being part of presenting shows here, I went to the man who my research showed me at that time is the one person in the whole of the Lower Mainland that, if I want to be promote events here, that I should talk to. Mr. Drew Burns, who used to own the Commodore Ballroom. I went and met with him, as we do in my place. When you come to a village that is not yours, and you have something that brings you there, you have to live there. Once you get home, the next thing you do is to go and present yourself to the village chief or the king or whatever, and explain yourself. And so I did that with him. And he gave me the opportunity to start promoting African music and events at the Commodore Ballroom. In the 80s, I did a lot of events there and co-produced a lot of events there before Live Nation bought it, And, but those are the things that I did to sow the foundation, to make this possible. So
it's just interesting because when people talk about whether it's blackness in Vancouver or people of African descent, they always talk about Hogan's Alley.
Yes, we are. That's part of the process. There's a lot going on in that direction. I'm also involved in that with the Northeast Falls Creek development thing that is going on in the city of Vancouver. And of course it involves the removal of the viaduct and Hogan's Alley. And, that's there's a festival that I co-founded in Vancouver called the African Descent Festival, and that festival was formed or started to help start creating some funding reserve to help the African Canadian or Black people start something in Hogan's Alley, be a part of that development. And that has led to actually a very serious negotiations with the city of Vancouver right now that I'm involved in as part of the community, trying to develop a plan for creating something very unique in the Hogan's Alley area when that place is redeveloped. And it will be very exciting. We're looking forward to something that will include an African Canadian cultural center and venue where we can have events like this. This festival will probably be headquartered there by the time that time comes. And stuff like that. But there's a lot of things being done in different areas. A lot of things are cooking. And we're just trying to put all the ingredients together and make it worthwhile. Yes.
Yeah, that all makes sense as part of the bigger picture.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and it includes you too, because there is a new hub being developed there by BC, the Artscape new hub that is being created there. Is part of the whole plan, you see, and there's a lot happening here and there to bring things together, and this is part of it. This is part of like you said, the bigger picture, the future. We want to get a great place created there, cultural center with libraries and places to archive things, and to have performances and events and things. And we're creating the events and things that will be a part of that to help pay for it. See? So it's all part of a big picture.